say the first cut is the deepest, but mine wasn't a cut. It was silence. It was the sound of footsteps walking away, while I stood there wide-eyed, bleeding invisible. You see, they didn't break me with blades. They broke me with absence, with betrayal dressed as love, with smiles that said, "I'm here for you," and hands that let go the moment I slipped. They fed me glass and called it love. And like a fool, I swallowed every shard, every "I care about you," every "I'd never leave," every empty vow that melted on their tongues like sugar, but turned to acid in my gut. They didn't stab me. They watched me drown, and they waved. Do you know what that does to a soul? To scream in a room full of people and still feel like no one hears you? To fall and hear clapping? To cry and taste laughter? I was a child of the forgotten, a product of shadows, raised in a house where affection was a weapon, and attention came with a price. Be strong, they said, but what they meant was, suffer silently. Be good, they whispered, but what they meant was, obey. No gods, no heroes, just silence. The kind of silence that grows teeth, the kind that learns to bite back. I watched the world pretend to care, pretend to reach, pretend to love, and then I watched it turn away. Not once, not twice, but every time I needed something real. They taught me that needing was weakness, that trusting was foolish, that love was a leash, and I was born to be chained. So I broke the leash, and they called me cold, but I wasn't cold. I was learning that kindness is currency, and I was always broke, learning that hearts don't break, they rot. And mine started to stink a long time ago. They smiled as they buried me, and I remembered every grin, every smirk, every hand that pretended to help, while making sure I stayed beneath the dirt. And you know what I learned down there? No one is coming to save you. Not the ones who birthed you, not the ones who kissed your forehead, not the gods you prayed to when your voice shook, not even yourself, not until you stop bleeding and start burning. The world made me a grave, but I made it my cocoon. I was not buried, I was planted. And now the roots have teeth, and they're hungry. They buried me, not in soil, but in silence. They didn't need a coffin. All they needed was their absence. All they needed was to forget, and they did. I called their names until my throat turned to dust. No one answered. Not one soul looked back. I waited. I begged. I shattered. The world moved on without me, and I became the ghost that watched it happen. Do you know what it feels like to be erased while still breathing? To exist, but not matter? To scream so loud inside your skull that even your bones start to echo? I screamed until the silence screamed back. And that was the first time I realized the silence had teeth. Every hour down there felt like a year. Every heartbeat an insult. Every breath proof that I was still trapped in the same body that pain built. But in that darkness, something strange happened. The air got thinner. The light disappeared. And still, I lived. I learned to breathe through stone, to drink from my own blood when hope ran dry, to find warmth in the friction between my pain and my will. I was buried alive, but something inside refused to die. You think pain kills you? No, it teaches you how to live without softness. It strips you bare. It starves you until you stop craving comfort. And when everything is gone, when no one remembers your name, when the world has already written your ending, that's when you start writing your own. I was not dead. I was becoming. Every breath in that grave was a rebellion. Every heartbeat was defiance. Every tear was evolution. They thought they left me to rot, but I was growing roots, and those roots were learning hunger. They were learning rage. I felt it one night. The stillness before transformation. The quiet before the fire. The shift from victim to something else. Something older, colder, sharper. I realized the truth. I didn't need saving. I needed time. Time to remember every face, every betrayal, every moment they left me for dead. And in that time I rebuilt, bone by bone, breath by breath, scar by scar, They buried me in dirt, but I learned to breathe through stone. Now, I don't need the world's air anymore. I make my own, and if they ever come back to dig me up, they'll find nothing left of who I was. Only the thing that survived. Only the thing they created. Only me, buried alive, yet breathing and waiting. There comes a moment when pain stops screaming, when it no longer begs for mercy, when it simply waits. That's when you know the change has begun. That night, I didn't die. I changed. Something inside me shifted. The trembling stopped. The fear fell silent. The tears dried into steel. And in that silence I heard it. The sound of my own awakening. The click of a mind locking into place. The birth of something ruthless. Something honest. They said I'd never come back. They were right. Because the person they buried was gone. And the thing that crawled out was no longer human. I remember the exact second it happened. The heartbeat that broke the pattern. The breath that tasted like war. It wasn't loud. It wasn't holy. It was a whisper. A voice that said, enough. Enough begging. Enough bleeding. Enough breaking for people who wouldn't even flinch if I vanished. I turned the blade inward, and it sharpened me. I stopped trying to kill the pain. I let it carve me into something else. That was the lesson. Pain doesn't leave. It transforms. It becomes memory. It becomes armor. It becomes you. And that night, I made peace with it. I stopped asking why me, and started saying try me. It's strange how calm you become after you've lost everything. You don't fear the fall anymore. You start to crave it. You stop running from the dark. You start walking through it, because that's where the truth lives. Not in light, not in comfort, but in the quiet place where you finally see yourself clearly, without excuses, without illusions. I saw what I was made of. Not hope, not faith, not love, but will. The kind that doesn't break. The kind that remembers every wound, every betrayal, every silence, and builds something sharp out of it. That night, I made a promise to myself. Never again would I beg to be seen. Never again would I reach for hands that let go. Never again would I die for someone who wouldn't bleed for me. I made a pact with the darkness, and it answered, not with comfort, but with clarity. It showed me that pain was never my enemy. It was my forge, my fire, my proof that I could survive anything. They wanted me weak. They wanted me silent. They wanted me broken beyond repair. But pain had other plans. It taught me how to breathe underwater, how to walk through fire, how to smile with blood in my teeth and still call it victory. They thought they destroyed me, but all they did was strip away the weakness, the softness, the illusion. Now, when I look in the mirror, I don't see a victim. I see the weapon they built by mistake. That night, I didn't die. Evolved. And I'll never be that fragile thing again. Let them come. Let them test what they created. Because the next time they bury me, I'll drag the whole world down with me. Your pain. It's strange, isn't it, how it becomes a language? How it speaks when the world goes silent. How it teaches when no one else will. At first, I thought pain was punishment. A curse. A slow rot spreading through my veins. But I was wrong, because pain was the only one who stayed. When love left, when faith failed, when hope died, pain remained. It watched me break. It watched me beg. And then, when I had nothing left, it began to teach. It said, feel this, learn this, become this. Every scar became a classroom. Every wound a lesson written in blood. Pain built my bones from ashes. It carved its initials into my soul. At first, I resisted. I fought it. I cursed it. But pain doesn't care about your cries. It doesn't negotiate. It doesn't pity. It molds. And the more it hurt, the sharper I became. The quieter, the clearer. Pain rewrote my DNA, cell by cell. It stripped away everything soft, everything fragile, everything naive, until all that was left was me. They tried to kill me with pain. But pas chose me. It looked at me and said, you will endure. And I did. Pain taught me patience, the kind you learn waiting for your wounds to close. It taught taught me strength, the kind you find when your muscles tremble and still you rise. It taught me focus, the kind born from hunger, from the long nights when your heart is on fire and your mind refuses to break. Pain became my mentor. It became my weapon. Every time I was cut, I learned precision. Every time I was burned, I learned control. Every time I fell, I learned balance. You see, pain is not your enemy. It's your blueprint. It maps out every weakness. It highlights every flaw. And if you pay attention, if you listen, it shows you exactly how to rebuild yourself. That's the truth no one wants to face. People run from pain. They drown it. They numb it. They deny it. But I made it my companion. I studied it. I dissected it. I let it crawl under my skin and rewrite the story of who I was. And in doing so, I became untouchable. Because once you understand pain, you stop fearing it. Once you stop fearing it, you stop being controlled. And once you stop being controlled, you become something else. Something dangerous. Something free. Every scar I wear is proof that pain can be mastered. That suffering can be sculpted. That agony can be art. They thought they were torturing me, but all they did was temper the steel. Each blow made me cleaner, sharper, better. They turned me into what they feared most. A creature who doesn't break when it bleeds. Pain was never my downfall. It was my foundation. It was the architect of my evolution, the composer of my chaos, the whisper that said, "Rise again." So now, when I feel pain, I don't flinch. I smile, because I know what it's building, because I know what it's shaping, because I know what it made me. Pain didn't destroy me. It defined me, and that's why they can't hurt me anymore. Because pain stopped being the fire that burned me, and became the fire that made me. They tried to break me, and they did, but only for a while. They hit. I stood. They cut. I smiled. They burned. I learned. And now, I don't bleed anymore. I burn. They wanted me soft, so I became stone. They wanted me quiet, so I became thunder. They wanted me obedient, so I became the consequence. They don't know what they made. They don't know what happens when you push a soul too far, when you hammer it until the cracks glow. This is what they feared. Not my strength, not my fury, but my silence, my stillness. The moment they realized, I don't feel it anymore. Not the pain, not the shame, not the guilt they smeared across my skin like blood. Because now, there's nothing left to take. I've lost everything they could steal. I've buried every part of me they could break. And what's left is not a person. It's a force, a reckoning, a monument to every failure they tried to sculpt me into. I became the thing they feared, the proof they failed, the proof that torment doesn't always end in ashes. Sometimes, it ends in fire. A fire you can't control. A fire that walks and breathes and remembers every scar. Do you understand what that means? It means I've already died. And what walks now is beyond fear, beyond rules, beyond pity, beyond chains. I don't bend anymore. I don't flinch. I don't hesitate. You could throw me into the sun, and I'd climb back with fire in my fists. You could bury me in ice, and I'd freeze into a weapon. They used to hurt me. Now they hope I don't remember. But I do. I remember everything. Every betrayal, every lie, every face that smiled while holding the knife. And I'm not asking for justice. I am justice. I'm not begging for peace. I am the war they created. Look at me. Look closely. I don't hide my scars anymore. I wear them like armor, like medals, like warnings. Because I earned them. I survived them. And now, I wield them. You can't shame me with what I've already accepted. You can't break what's already been reforged. You can't kill what's already risen from the grave. I am not angry. I am awakened. I am not bitter. I am built from bone and rage and refusal. I don't break anymore. I burn. So let them come. Let them try. Let them think the fire will consume me. They've forgotten one thing. I am the fire. You. Yes, you. You watched. You waited. You whispered behind closed doors. thinking your echoes wouldn't reach me. But I heard every word, every laugh, every silence that screamed louder than any insult. You didn't have to hit me. You just had to look away. And that was enough. You watched me fall, and you flinched only when I started standing again. You didn't see me as a person. You saw me as a burden, inconvenience, a cautionary tale you could point at and say, look what happens when someone gets too close to the edge. You stood behind your fences, your smiles, your fake concern, and let me rot. And when I stopped bleeding for your comfort, have you called me cruel? But I'm not cruel. I'm just no longer performing pain in a way that pleases you. I'm not fragile for your entertainment, not broken for your redemption. I am what happens when silence grows teeth. I became the mirror you never wanted to face, the one that shows you the truth, unfiltered, unsoftened, unafraid. You want to pretend I was always this way, but you know better. You did this. You made me. You made Pine my prison. I turned it into my kingdom. You tried to smother me with your expectations. I used them as fuel. You tried to define me with your rejection. I used it as scripture. You tried to bury me in your absence. I grew thorns in the dark, and now you fear me. Not because of what I've done, but because of what I know. Because I know what you are. I know how easily you abandon, how quickly you forget, how conveniently you rewrite history to erase your part in my undoing. But I remember every door that didn't open, every hand that didn't reach, every promise that tasted like smoke. And now, I've stopped asking for anything. Not your love, not your mercy, not your applause. Because I'm done performing. I'm done bleeding for blind eyes. Done shrinking so you can sleep better at night. I am not your regret. I am not your mistake. I am your consequence. And I didn't come back to be forgiven. I came back to be remembered. So look at me. Really look. Not the version you invented to make yourself feel better. Not the ghost you buried in your stories. Look at the real thing. The sharp edges. The fire. The eyes that don't blink anymore. I am not here to heal you. I am not here to soothe you. I am the mirror you ran from, and I'm not going away. So tell your stories. Twist the truth. Play the victim. It won't change what I am now. It won't unmake what you made. Because you didn't break me. You revealed me. And now I see it all clearly. You were never afraid of my darkness. You were afraid I'd stop hiding it. They call me cold, but I'm not cold. I'm forged. There is a difference. Say, fire doesn't freeze you. It purifies you. It melts the unnecessary. It leaves only the core. That's what pain did to me. That's what time did to me. That's what they did to me. Every scar you see, that's a blueprint. A blueprint of the battles I didn't just survive, but mastered. Every scar is a brick. I built my throne from wounds, from silence, from every broken promise they left bleeding on my floor. They thought pain would make me weak. But pain isn't weakness. Pain is pattern. And I memorized every one. Now, I don't react. I calculate. I don't chase. I observe. I don't feel. I command. They think I don't care. They're right. I stopped caring the day I realized emotions were weapons in their hands. So I took them back. I stripped the triggers, diffused the guilt, cauterized the need. Now, I walk alone not because I'm broken, but because I'm whole, because no one else could carry this kind of fire without turning to ash. You call it loneliness. I call it clarity. You call it bitterness. I call it memory. You call it pride. I call it precision. This isn't armor I wear. This is skin. This is who I am now. Sharpened, tempered, untouched. I no longer explain myself. I no longer reach out. I no longer wait for apologies that never come. Because I don't need closure. I am the closing chapter. I am the full stop at the end of every story they tried to write about me. You can't guilt a stone. You can't manipulate a storm. And you damn sure can't wound someone who already turned pain into policy. They think I'm distant, detached, dead inside. Good, because it means they'll never see it coming. The weapon isn't in my hand. It is my hand. It is my voice. It is every breath I take now. I didn't ask for this war, but I accepted it. I didn't start this fire, but I became it. And now I am the fortress, immovable, untouched, unshaken. Let them knock, let them scream, let them bleed on the walls they helped build. Because this is not just survival. This is structure. This is strategy. This is power. And no one gets in. Not anymore. I warned you, but you didn't listen. You thought the quiet meant surrender. You mistook the stillness for peace. You called the silence a victory, but it wasn't silence. It was gathering. It was loading. It was rising. It was becoming. You thought you could bury me in ashes, not knowing I was the fire. You thought you could drown me, not realizing I was the flood. You thought you could chain me down, but I was only growing wings beneath the weight. I am not the aftermath. I am not the survivor. I am not what you left behind. I am what's coming. I am the storm you laughed at, the thunder you thought would never strike, the vengeance you thought would never rise. And now, you will hear every rumble. You will feel every tremor. You will watch everything you built crumble in the wind I carry. Because I no longer feel pain. I am pain. I wear it like armor. I breathe it like air. I bend it, mold it, command it. I forged my fury in the furnace of your betrayal. I weaponized my wounds. I baptized myself in the flood of your absence. And when I emerged, I was unrecognizable. Not broken, not healed, ascended. I am the chaos you tried to erase, the scream you tried to silence, the reckoning you tried to avoid. And I don't knock on doors anymore. I tear down walls. I don't beg to be seen. I blind those who look too long. I don't wait to be heard. I am the sound. I am the echo. I am the roar in the back of your throat when fear finally remembers my name. You tried to build a cage around me, so I became smoke. You tried to drown me in darkness, so I became night. You tried to bury me beneath the storm, so I became the storm itself. Let them run. Let them pray. Let them scream. None of it will matter, because I am not here for redemption. I am not here for forgiveness. I am here to reign, to rise, to dominate, to burn. Let them hate. Let them fear. Let them fall. Let them fall. Let them fall. Because I no longer walk among them. I tower above them. I am not the same broken soul they left behind. I am every scar they carved into me alive, awakened and armed. I don't chase storms anymore. I am the storm. I don't search for light. I am the lightning, and I don't ask for strength. I am the power they couldn't destroy, the weapon they forged by mistake, the monster they whispered about in fear, only to realize too late. I was listening. I made pain my superpower, and now I am unstoppable. This is your warning. This is your reckoning. This is your end. I am not coming. I have arrived.